Hello and welcome to Where You're Not Entertained. I'm Daniel.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm James.
And today we're continuing our coverage of The Mandalorian with episode
4.
It is 4. It is chapter 12. Sorry.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to look up.
Gotcha.
Name the siege.
Yeah.
Because, well, they do a
They
siege.
Yeah.
They do siege.
They do siege. Yeah, so again, thoroughly
And just to be
enjoyed
clear,
this one.
better than the movie The Siege.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, also, to be clear, we are going to spoil this.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
big time.
Yeah. All of these episodes are spoilers. Sorry, folks. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
Yeah, it's good.
But
One thing I wanted to go ahead and mention is right off the bat we get the Mando and Child working inside of the Razor Crest,
Mhm.
and I feel like the Child's CG or animatronics or blend of the two. I'm not sure exactly if it's all animatronics or if it has some CG blending, but it seems to be getting better.
yes, it does.
Yeah.
Originally, it was very jerky, and it felt like animatronics from like the late 80s,
Ouch.
which made it endearing. It had that nostalgic factor to it, you know?
See him on a Disney ride.
Or, E.T.
E.T. Oh, jeez, man. The
But-
harshness.
It was still cute. And it feels like it's getting a little bit more fluid and more realistic.
Yeah. I think maybe some of like the eye blinking and stuff
Mhm.
is still a little choppy. I don't know if that's by design, but
Right.
but yeah, I think you are correct about the movement. Like trying to figure out the red wire and the blue wire and where it was supposed to get plugged into, and don't touch them together.
Yeah.
Which as soon as he said that, I was like, "Ah,
I know what's happening in this scene.
here he comes."
Yeah.
And again, building this like really great rapport between the Mandalorian and the child,
Right.
hmm
keeping the child as sort of like the fun part
It's
of
like Yoda meets Dennis the Menace.
every. Yeah. And even just seeing him like tap the wires together and the complete resignation in Mando's voice of, "Are you all right?"
Yeah.
And later on, when we see Yoda, baby Yoda, get that cookie.
Yeah.
Just the child.
Apparently,
Sorry.
they have macaroons in space.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He wanted a macaroon. He made it happen. And then
Mhm.
through the whole episode, you see him eating those macaroons until the very end when he's eating a macaroon on his roller coaster space ride and he throws up.
Which makes me think that poor kid in class, like, actually, like, is having nightmares because he didn't even ask for his macaroons back. He was so freaked out.
Yeah, exactly. He was like,
That
no.
kid is just like, having night terrors from Baby Yoda, like coming in and force lifting him out of his bed.
But the little green thing that stole his cookies in class.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can have those.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was also cool to see Cara Dune and Grief. What is his name?
Karga.
Karga. Yeah. Get to see them return and kind of get evidence that Mando's hard work from last season is paying off, with the town being in much better condition and the old saloon being turned in that was shot to hell and being turned into a classroom and things like that. So you see that his good efforts have not gone to waste.
Yes, exactly.
Definitely good evolution happening.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to have better kind of law and order in the town, and that's what kind of brings on the meat of this episode,
Yeah.
which is they would like the planet to be safe. And in order to do that, they have to go take over a base.
Yeah, the last Imperial base on the planet.
Exactly.
Yes.
Even though it's run by a skeleton crew,
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Yes.
When they uncover, it is not quite the military base they thought it was.
It's a research base.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we're skipping over a whole lot of action. That was really cool, but I mean, go watch the episode. Talking about action isn't that great, but there's some very interesting stuff that they find in the research base that I think has a lot of implications for the rest of the season.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially them kind of finding out what the original purpose of the I'll say the kidnapping, but the kidnapping of the child was, drawing its blood to try to make some super soldiers is kind of what it seems like.
Now, that's where it gets weird because you have Moff Gideon who has all of those. They look like, almost like TIE fighters. I'm not sure exactly which kind of trooper that's supposed to be. But then when you have them actually find the research portion of the base and they see the message from Dr. Pershing from the first season, that's when Mando finds out that Moff Gideon's still alive.
Right.
And you also have those deformed bodies back behind them in the tanks. They almost look like Snoke bodies. And we know from the movies that both Snoke and Palpatine, spoilers for the movies, by the way. So heads up if you haven't seen Star Wars stuff, sorry. That both of them have had cloning happening.
Right.
And it almost seems like they're trying to use the child's blood to make the clones force powerful or make them transferable or something of that nature so that they can transfer their consciousness into the new clones.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. It kind of seems like that might be the main focus of the research, but I was wondering if at the end when you see all of the troopers in suspended animation, I guess, maybe they're like suits of armor that don't have anybody inside, but it kind of indicated they did. Maybe he's actually trying to create a force powerful army.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking. So I was thinking going with the whole super soldier kind of deal, which it's not uncommon, right? That's what the bad guys always want, to create this super unstoppable force.
And Moff Gideon doesn't seem like the kind of person who is just going to be a lackey.
No. Yeah.
He may be helping the Emperor, helping Snoke create force powerful clones for themselves, but I bet you anything he's also using that tech to try to create something to make him more powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we will definitely see more of that. I mean, that looks like it's going to be a main driver, not just in this series, but the next one.
Yeah.
Or season, sorry, not series. So I'd be willing to bet that we're gonna unravel a whole ball of yarn and find out what's really going on there.
Sure.
I do hope that it doesn't end up getting too complex.
It would seem kind of out of character at this point.
Yeah, and as much as a good complex storyline is wonderful, and I'm sure there'll be people who listen to this who are like, well, maybe if you're not a moron, you could handle a story that's more complex.
Thank you.
But I kind of like the abilities, especially since it's not a bingeable show. It comes out week by week. I kind of like a series that has a singular through line and finishes that before it jumps off into another direction.
Right.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for something that is a weekly release, but also sort of shorter.
Yeah.
I think these are 9 episodes a season.
30 minutes a pop.
8.
Yeah. And so I think it makes more sense to have sort of a singular arc. And if that's something you're going to continue for several seasons, then you can have a few smaller arcs, maybe 1 or 2 a season, but you have to keep a good central plot line, something that you keep coming back to so that when it shows back up 3 episodes later, it's not a shock.
Right.
Yeah, my thing that it isn't that it's like hard to follow when shows do things like that, but it's messy. That's really my only problem with it. To me, it doesn't show that you have good writing. It just shows that you have a bunch of people with different ideas, and maybe you're just trying to appease your writers and say, okay, you can have your turn to make this weird thing, and you can have your turn to make this weird thing.
Or even worse, you get the J.J. Abrams effect, like in Lost, where you just never answer anything for your audience and just go, it's all a big mystery the whole time.
Right.
Right.
That is the quickest way for me to not care anymore and turn it off.
Yeah, it's not a mystery to me. Game over.
Yeah.
And luckily, this is just written by Jon Favreau, so it's not like maybe there's other people helping or whatever, kind of in the background, but it's not like there's a whole team of writers that are trying to make this thing come to life.
Right.
So he's got a vision, I would assume, especially since he's directed a lot of these, and a lot of the people that have actually directed these episodes are characters in the episodes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you're not just getting a bunch of like weird direction from directors that are like guest director kind of deals.
Yeah, like Carl Weathers directing this one.
Right, exactly. Yeah. He already knows, like, he's involved in this. He's been part of the show. He understands kind of where it's going, and so for him to step in and do the directing for it, you're like, okay, it still has the same feel. Some things might be shot a little differently, but it's not just way out in left field.
Well, I hope he does, because this one was awesome. The action was great. The pacing was wonderful. And those stormtroopers are both brave and insanely reckless at the same time. Or at least the ones that get on speeders.
Yes, they are.
Like, Lord.
Yeah, and then pull up next to the thing. Like, you realize you're like riding next to a tank?
Yeah, that's one of those moments where I'm like, no, I'd rather just Vader force choke me to death.
Yeah.
Right.
If I get to choose how I'm going to die, I'm going to choose, good old-fashioned choking over
getting crushed between a tank and a
smashing into another speeder on like a 75-degree incline.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
No, thanks.
All right. Well, was there anything else you guys wanted to cover in episode 4 of The Mandalorian?
No, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, definitely.
This has become my favorite Star Wars property.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm a fan. I'll say that.
All right. Well, then that wraps it up for episode 4 of The Mandalorian Season 2. Hopefully you enjoyed our coverage of it. If you did, please go online and like and subscribe, and join us next time on Were You Not Entertained?